Welcome to DS Trucks. Guys, in today's video, I want to talk about how I got started in business and particularly how I got started plowing snow. Because actually, I got started in business plowing snow. The first thing I did wasn't mowing lawns or trimming bushes or mulch or anything like that. The first thing I've ever done in business is plow snow. Now, speaking of business, here's some guys up here cutting some lawns, getting stuff done. It's misting out, and we're out here everybody's out here trying to get it done. There's a chick, she's trimming. But I want to talk about, guys, how I started in business and how I started in snow. I think it was like way back in 2013, and I'm gonna be honest, guys, at the time when I started in business, I didn't have very much. I didn't have any money. I had no startup money, guys. No startup money. I couldn't afford to buy a coat. I remember distinctly all the conditions that existed when I started my business, because I was essentially poor. And it's weird because I had a good job at the time. I had a good job. I was at Ford. I was already at Ford for probably for at least a year. I think I started at Ford in 2012. So I was at Ford for a year. Check this out, guys, though, before we get too far. My guys cut this today. Cut that one. Looks good. But I was already at Ford, and I remember I was partying a little bit, a little bit too much. I was still young. I was like 21, 20. I was 23. So I was partying, guys. I was going out on boats on the weekends or on the weekdays, considering Ford was a weekend job. The whole time I've been there, I've been on the weekends. And I was going out and partying on boats. And I remember thinking that, we're out here on these yachts. When someone has a yacht, they always want to party. They want people around. They want to posse up. So if you want to party, you can always just somehow figure out how to link up with someone with a boat, and you can always party on their boat. And that's essentially what we were doing. Who's got a boat that we can get on? We couldn't afford boats. I certainly couldn't afford a boat, but for whatever reason, seeing all these yachts and boats and all that, my thing was, how am I going to get a boat? How am I going to afford a boat? And I remember thinking, like, what I'm making at Ford does not support me getting into, like, that truck. Look at that F-150, guys. That thing is a beast. It's got an 8-foot bed and extended cab. I might pick one of those up. 8-foot bed, extended cab. Look at that beauty of a truck. But we can call that truck Old Burgundy. But I remember thinking, how can I afford one of these boats and then put fuel in it and all that? So it kind of got me thinking, like, what are these people doing for money? Every once in a while somebody would kind of talk about it. Whatever. They had all different lines of work, but I couldn't figure out how, I was going to do it. And I would kind of think about financing these kind of items from while working at Ford, and I would run the numbers, and they would always come back like, man, until I'm at full pay, I can't do anything. So back to what I was saying, guys, I had no money. And the reason that I had no money is because everything that came in had to go back out. I was making like $15 or $16 an hour, and I had a truck. I had a 2004 Sierra that I bought. It was like $430 whatever dollars a month, but that was a lot of money. My rent, I had an apartment. My rent was $1,000 a month. My old lady stayed with me. And we split the rent. So I'm talking $2,000 or whatever, $1,000 a month. All my other bills, my phone, whatever, and a little bit of hanging out that I did would take all of my money. It took all of my money. It was crazy. So it's like, man, I can't really figure out. I was terrible. I will admit, guys, I was terrible with money, because that truck that I had, it was $400 a month for the truck, and at the time the insurance was probably like another $350 a month just for the insurance because of my age and my record and all that stuff. So the insurance was insane for the truck, and whatever else I was doing, I wasn't, I wasn't on drugs. I was maybe drinking a little bit, buying beer, but for whatever reason, every dollar that I had coming in would go back out. I couldn't afford to do anything. So essentially, I had $0 because I didn't have any extra money for. I just saw my buddy cutting a little short. I didn't have any extra money for any equipment. Like, I had no startup money, guys. Nothing. So I kind of started thinking about mowing lawns, but it was wintertime, so I decided to try snow service. So what I did is I took my snowblower from Big John, my stepdad. I took his snowblower. He had a 9 horsepower Craftsman. That thing's still in the shed right now. And it was a big 2-stage. It was heavy. I think I had $200, and I ordered a wheelchair rack from the internet, probably from like trailers.com or whatever that site is. I ordered this trailer rack, flimsy thing, for $200 to hold. It was for a wheelchair, but it was to hold my snowblower. It had like a 500-pound capacity. Snowblower weighed like 250. So I took their snowblower and I wheeled it up onto this wheelchair rack on the back of that Sierra. Now, before doing snow with the Sierra, I would do mobile mechanic. I was not successful doing mobile mechanic. I wasn't happy with the results. So I decided to slowly start to switch it off to snow and to see if that was something I could make work. So what I did is I put out an ad on Craigslist. I put the snowblower on the wheelchair rack, and I went ahead and put an ad on Craigslist. Snow service, whatever. I had a couple different names. One was 2 Strokes Lawn and Snow. The other one was like Scientific Snow Service and whatever. I just tried out different names, different things I tried out to see what would work. Put an ad on Craigslist, started getting emails, and I would start doing snow. It was just that simple, just as far as the money, I would get $30, $35. And honestly too, though, there was a period, I think, now trying to remember the details, there was a period where I did a couple accounts even before I had that snowblower and that wheelchair rack, and I had a shovel. I remember there was a point where I had such little money in my hand, that when I did actually start, I think I actually started with just a shovel. And I think the shovel was found leaving Ford one day, where it's like whatever contractor does Ford, they left a shovel right in the middle of the road and everybody's driving around it. So finders keepers, I picked it up, threw it in the back of the truck, and then I booked my first client off of Craigslist. And I remember him saying that he didn't know that I was going to use a shovel to do his huge driveway. He had a big gravel driveway, so every time he tried to scoop the snow, it would just stick onto the gravel. It was horrible. But he said he didn't know that I was going to do that. He thought I was going to use a plow truck, because who would try to shovel this? Who in their right mind would be shoveling this driveway? But no, he had no idea. Like, I had a truck. It didn't have a plow. It was a GMC 2500. So I think how I ended up getting that wheelchair rack is I kind of just started with a shovel that I found for free, and then I worked my way up to having that $200 to get that wheelchair rack. And then I went from there. Before work, I would take that wheelchair rack and snowblower. It stayed on the truck. I threw a chain around it and a lock, and I would go and plow or snowblow before work. Work starts at 6. I would go snowblow at 3, and I would do that, get my little 2 or 3 clients done, and then I would go from there. 2 or 3 clients done, and boom, I'm off to work. So I also was able to pick up some clients because of my mobile mechanic. I kind of let them know that I was doing snow, and I picked up clients, and I started making the typical mistakes along the way. Some of the mistakes were taking on people who were for whatever reason. These people, so you should take them on. I took on people from the Ford plant. They were nowhere near me. It's way too much driving. It's a ridiculous amount of driving. Like, don't take on any driving. Like, your driving should be very minimum. So I had clients from Ford that lived 30 minutes away from me. I had clients that I worked on their cars. They lived 30 minutes away from me. I made these mistakes, and I remember having to tell a lot of these people that I couldn't come back ever anymore because they were just too far, and it was the truth. I mean, I booked a bunch of people that were too far. But, I got started. I learned. I want to help some new people. I want to help some new people get started in snow or in lawns, just because of just thinking about the number of mistakes that I made that are just so silly and simple. And not that I'm perfect now, don't make mistakes now, but a lot of these things could have been avoided, and they're very simple, like billing, how to do billing. My billing practice was horrible, guys. I mean, I learned the hard way how to handle billing. I learned routing a little bit. My routes aren't that great now. They really could be way better, but I was driving all over town. I didn't really have the wherewithal to know not to book clients that were that far away. But now, now I know. And it's just, it was tough it's hard to tell people no. It was tough for me to do it. But, back to how I got started. It's just a crazy situation. I just wasn't happy at Ford. I wasn't happy with what they were paying me. They weren't paying me enough, guys. They don't pay those new guys at Ford enough to want to stick around. It is what it is. The work's very hard. It's very hard work. The job is not fulfilling necessarily by itself. It was very hard for me to get used to working on the line. And I was very, very upset about working on the line and just turning into a vegetable on the line. It was very hard for me to wrap my head around. But that was a factor. There were so many factors that went into me starting out. There was the stress of the line. There was the video games I was playing. One of the video games I was playing was Grand Theft Auto, and I wasn't a big gamer, but I bought a PlayStation 3 from a friend when the PlayStation 4 came out. He was a gamer. I bought his PS3. It was the original PS3, and he gave me Grand Theft Auto with it. And I remember, like, those missions. Yes or no. Do you want to let him live, or do you want to let him? Very dark game, but what I did take away from it was you have these missions in life. It's not all about just one life. You have these, there's my buddy. You have these missions in life. You can make these decisions that lead you down different paths. That's kind of what that game told me, in a way, Grand Theft Auto. You can go down different paths, and that's kind of like business. Like, business lets you go down different paths. But, so many things went into me starting out. It was the stress of work, doing the same thing, turning into a zombie on the line. There was the video game, playing Grand Theft Auto, where you had to do the missions. And hey, why can't you just do missions like this in real life? You don't got to be necessarily stealing cars, but you could do that with basic business moves. Missions, everything can be a mission. There was the reality that there's so much more revenue streams, that you can do bigger things. Like, how are these people living in these bigger houses? Or how are people able to have these boats and full of fuel and all that? Like, it really isn't necessarily just from working. Some of them are business owners who start from scratch. But, you know, it's just a process, guys, of figuring out, you know, there's more to it. Now, it's definitely not the easy path. It's definitely the harder path, but, you know, that's pretty much, guys, how I got started. How I got started in the snow. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Comment below. Hope to see you in the next video. We're just doing a little bit of a drive here. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. See you in the next one. Over and out. Bye.